Hello, friends and comrades. Again, this is Ethan Shapiro, founder of Climate Change Realty. And in this video, we're going to be talking about entry-level homes here in Broomfield, Colorado. Now, Broomfield has a population of approximately 75,000 people, and the price of an entry-level home is right between $475,000 and $525,000. Now, the average entry-level home here in Broomfield has approximately maybe 3.5 bedrooms. You don't really get a half a bedroom, but that means that the average entry-level home here in Broomfield actually has a greater number of bedrooms than surrounding areas. Most entry-level homes typically have 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, but I wrote down 3.5 because Broomfield tends to kind of trend towards maybe 4 bedrooms for their entry-level homes. Now, of course, when it comes to the average amount of square footage in this entry-level home, it's pretty close to the rest of the pack. You get about 1,450 square feet in your average entry-level home. Did I mention 2 bathrooms? I don't know if I did, but it has 2 bathrooms on average. Now, the average amount of acreage or the size of the plot that your home is going to be built on is about 0.15 acres, which is a little bit smaller than other surrounding areas. But again, usually, a plot around 1/5 of an acre or a little bit less is pretty typical, and you'll have a decent amount of space if you're living in there. The average year an entry-level home in Broomfield was built is going to be 1977, and your taxes per year are probably going to be around $2,600. Now, of course, we always like to visit the price per square foot because it's interesting to compare it to the surrounding cities. In Broomfield, you're actually getting a little bit better deal than surrounding cities. You're probably going to get somewhere between, again, this is $475 and $525 divided by the average square footage of $1,450. So you're going to get that range between $325 to $365 per square foot here for entry-level homes in Broomfield. Now let's move on to talking about who can afford these homes. So when it comes to who can afford to purchase an entry-level home in Broomfield, it really comes down to 2 factors. What monthly payment are you going to get approved for / are you willing to accept? And then how much income do you have, which is going to allow you to get approved for that monthly payment. Now, when it comes to who can afford to purchase an entry-level home here in Broomfield, we're going to explore the typical scenario where you put 20% down and get that 30-year conventional mortgage. Now, for a home priced between $475 and $525, the average down payment at 20%, of course, is going to be somewhere between $95,000 and $105,000. And of course, we're going to explore a couple different interest rate scenarios depending on, your credit and what market you're buying in. So, a pretty easy example to use is that 6.5% interest rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage with 20% down. For between $475 and $525, your mortgage, of course, this is including taxes, insurance, all that good stuff. So this is what you're going to be paying every single month. At 6.5% would be $2,825 all the way up to $3,080 if you get up to that $525 mark. Now let's look at that at 7% and 7.5%. So that would be $2,955 or $3,220 at that 7%, or let's look at the 7.5%. You'll be at $3,085 a month or $3,365. Now your income is going to determine whether or not you're going to be qualified to purchase this home. So let's look at the 6.5%, situation and see what kind of minimum income. So this is looking at a 50% debt to income ratio, which is the max a lender is ever going to let you borrow. So this is the minimum income someone will need to make to afford that 6.5% loan situation. So that person would need, $67,800 or a $68,000. That's a pre-tax income all the way up to $74,000. So if you get a 6.5% interest rate, you're going to need to make at least $68,000 a year and put 20% down just to afford an entry-level home in Broomfield. At 7%, you're going to need to make between $71,000 and $77,300, and at 7.5%, you're going to need to make $74,000 all the way up to $81,000 if you're at that higher end of the entry level. So these are all things to consider. I'm going to put up the scenario where, let's say you don't have the 20% to put down, how this is going to affect your loan payment and how much you're going to need to make, again, remember, in pre-tax income. And then, of course, you got to decide what you're comfortable with at the end of the day. And that's pretty much the entry-level situation here in Broomfield. If you have any questions, by all means, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. Send me an email, give me a call. Would be more than happy to discuss all these items in detail with you. Thanks for watching the video. Appreciate it.